What are you? What the heck? Oh my god, I have never seen anything like you. Okay, what's up? What is this? It's a coin. Okay, so I'd have to explain to you the concept of okay, so you understand the exchange, right? Okay, first of all, what are you? So you came from another planet. Why do you look like that? Your species look like that? Fair enough. So okay, you understand the concept of an exchange, right? Yeah, like trading. So you trade something of equal value of other things. So it first started with um for example, vegetables. At first they harvested and they took, so there was like this people that harvested tomatoes, for example, and there's these other people that harvested potatoes. So they traded the amount of tomatoes that was worth the amount of potatoes. So they exchanged and they could both survive. Um, so uh, or with goods. So instead of trading goods, we started creating a thing that had a unique value. Well, not a unique value, but a value that could be used for anything. So I have this coin. Um, it first started with gold. That is a mineral. I don't know if you've heard of gold. Yeah, gold is a mineral. Okay, so we used to have gold as our way of as our coin. So a certain amount of gold equals certain things. So say I don't really know how much gold was a potato, but let's say a teeny tiny amount of gold, you could buy a dress for yourself. So this gold equaled the value of that dress, right? So you make it the generations and generations and generations, we started developing coins. So for example, we use coins, well, not coins, we don't really use coins anymore, but this is 50 cents. So with 50 cents I can buy bread, some bread. I can buy some bread. I can buy like 2 loaves of bread with 50 cents. So 2 loaves of bread equal 50 cents. So each one 25 cents. So in our country and some other countries, we measure the value of things with dollars. We use dollars. We use American dollars. But some other countries use their own coin. For example, Canada, they use, I think, Canadian dollars, right? I'm not wrong about that. Australian dollars in Australia. They use the euro in Europe and some countries in Europe, and they use the pound in United Kingdom. So, well, this is our all examples. Of course, in Mexico they use Mexican pesos. In Colombia they use Colombian pesos, and well, furthermore, coins have different value in each country. For example, this is 50 cents over here, but 50 cents in Colombia, like the equal value of 50 cents in Colombia is 2,000 pesos, I believe, more or less. So over here I can use this 50 cents and buy things, but I cannot use the 2,000 pesos because the 2,000 pesos can only be used in Colombia. Yeah, but it does have the value. It just depends on your geographical position. So in some countries you can you can commercialize with dollars, with American dollars. There's some countries that you can use American dollars, for example, Venezuela, although it's not their official coin. But you can, I think you can actually trade things for dollars over there. Do you have any questions about it up till this point? Okay, so there's this thing. So there's this Korean philosopher whose name I don't recall that said that things only make sense once they're irreplaceable and different and unique. So what he was talking about was more of a philosophy of uniqueness, of things that aren't exactly the same, right? So for example, in his philosophy, this is really hard to understand, not to understand, but to think as a good thing. So he thinks the Twin Towers didn't make sense because they were exactly the same. They had no personality whatsoever, and he hated the idea of things being equal to other things, to things having the same value as other things. So he didn't agree with the idea of money, of course, or globalization. So globalization is another topic for another day. So you got this two towers that are exactly the same, that mirror each other. So basically, that's what the idea of money is. The idea of money is a coin or an object, or well, in this case we now have digital money. I'll show you in a second. This is equal to many things, to a lot of things. So things lose their personal value, things lose their sense in a way. So the exchange is lost because in a way, I'm not giving you something that will help you survive, but I am giving you something that will help you survive, which is this 50 cents in exchange for some bread, because this 50 cents not only equal 2 loaves of bread, they also equal a Coke, a Coca-Cola, of course. Coke is not that cheap. But yeah, that's what coins are. Yeah. Do you have any questions? Why is there not a universal coin? That's a really, really good question. I think of that a lot. Well, it started with the civilizations being separate, right? So we started off as separate civilizations that had their own progress and their own thing going on, right? So then we started having countries and stuff, and they were already trading with gold and everything. So it's hard to think about. I'm over here. Okay, so the idea is that money had to be money in their own place so they can stabilize the economy. So I'm still wrapping my head around it. I'm sorry if I kind of talk shit. I am also trying to translate what I can wrap my head around to English. So bear with me. So basically, what I understand about it is that when a government has to stabilize the economy, they can alter the value of the coin upwards or downwards depending on their needs. So when they can fluctuate this money, they can much better have control over the economy of their country. So it's good that each country has their own coin, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to just fluctuate with the value of the coin as easily, and they would have much different troubles. So in each country's not even each country, each geographical space has its own troubles with money, but not troubles with money, more of a cost of life, a different cost of life. So and form of life, and each country has a different government it's ruled by. So when you try and convert everything into one coin, you get a lot of trouble. So with the way we are going now, we have a lot of different problems regarding uh, impoverishment, regarding poor families, and regarding uh, cost of life. For so I know that there are some countries that have a much higher cost of life but a much lower income rate, which is totally fucking awful. And there's other countries that have a really medium cost of life and a really high average income, which sucks. I don't know. We don't have the same coin because it's inconvenient, and we're never going to agree to that. The European Union does have the same coin. They have the euro, so you can basically travel all across, well, not all across Europe, all across the European Union, and you can travel with that money, and it's basically the same shit. That would be amazing. And there's some countries that also use the dollar, which is a much more stable coin. But they use it because it's convenient, although sometimes it's not as convenient. I know Puerto Rico uses it because they're United States colony. Ecuador uses it. Um, Venezuela uses it. Well, there Hawaii, which is also a United States colony. I'm not really sure what other countries use it. Maybe República Dominicana. I don't know. Well, that's all, babe. I'll talk to you later. I want to sleep.